You're listening to Field Day with Katie Black.
Hello, welcome to the Katie Black Show. Today I'm honored I have with me...
Hello everybody, Chris Clark here, newsman, sportsman, let's just go with storyteller all around here. I've done it from, from coast to coast, north to south, everywhere in between, and found a nice little home here in Charlotte because I keep getting drawn back to this place. But started my career off in Washington, D.C., Maryland guy, Oxon Hill for all the people that want to know for sure, and just outside of D.C. And I grew up watching Glenn Brenner, and he made my dad and my grandfather laugh, and I'm like, I want to be that guy. And the original plan, full disclosure, I'll go ahead and come clean. The original plan was to be an outfielder for the New York Yankees, but that fell through. I can't run a 6'8", 60. You can clock me with a sundial. I can hit. But yeah, I'm not fleet of foot. But I figured I could be around this stuff and still talk about it. And when I got hurt in college, they said, "Why don't you come on up and be in the radio booth?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure, not a problem. We can do that." Went to 2 years at Wingate College, by the way, for all the fans looking around this place. So had a good time there. Finished up at Bowie State University. If you want to Google that and then come back and look at me and go, "Wait, what? Are you sure?" I totally get it. And got my first job at the Washington football team, and it's just been running and rolling and rocking ever since, man. And it's been a charmed life. I haven't made a ton of money, but there's never been a day that I've been like, oh, I gotta go to work. You gotta be kidding me. So I'll trade the hundreds of thousands for being able to get up every day and have a great time, because you can't buy some of the experiences I've had.
Well, wow. So, background for everybody. I came across because I didn't know, you sound like we could talk for 3 episodes of all your history. But I came across your account on TikTok because I'm a big nostalgia person. I'm here. I was born and raised in Charlotte, so all the things. You are posting old, mainly for what I see, I know there's some NASCAR in there, but old basketball games like Charlotte Catholic. I've seen some, colleges, North Carolina, South Carolina colleges, like, I don't know, maybe 1999, 2000, 2001. And I saw you comment like, yo, how did you come across this? And I swear one of the things were that you worked somewhere where they were going to throw all the tapes away. That's correct?
Exactly that is precisely what happened. And this wasn't. I've worked in a couple different places where this has happened, and it made me just cringe because I'm a pack rat. I'm not even in front. I keep all kinds of stuff very nostalgic myself at things. I mean, I've got little things that are sitting around that for no reason at all that people gave me that you just for the heck of it, and it's all over my desk at different. I mean, just to give you an idea, I got my March Madness stuff from a couple of years ago from when Duke was in it, and when they won it in 2015, just sitting with me here. So let me get my stuff straight again. Sorry, but throwing it away just seemed like a sin, to be honest with you. I mean, and for people that might not be clued in, back before in the Hinter times, children, they used to have to go shoot things on tape. Yeah. And then they would put it onto, you'd go out and shoot everything you needed on a tape. And then when you wanted to say get your sportscast together, and let's just say you wanted to shoot and show the Duke game, for example, NC State, Charlotte, and UNC. You would go to each one of those games. Somebody would bring those raw tapes back. You'd shoot like an hour. And then you would have individualized tapes that they would play back in the show. So you would have, they'd be labeled, basketball tape, or if they were just, psychos, tape 1, sports tape 1. And you would put the UNC highlights on sports tape 1, Duke on 2, NC State on 3, whatever it was. So that way, when you get up on the desk and you do your whole slide in like Collinsworth and go, hey, let's go to Cameron Indoor and see exactly how things are going up there with Coach K, and they would play the tape that you edited everything onto. Mm-hmm. So that's what would get kept. I mean, the broadcast will go out into outer space, and most of mine are way past Pluto by now. But the tapes that they kept were the raw tapes that had 45, 50 seconds of highlights on. And for the sports guys, that was the lifeblood, man. You would keep everything that, and you would also keep another tape, take some, big plays off of whatever game it was. Some guys would keep the whole games. I would. But these tapes, and everybody did it. Every station, that's how they ran. News would do the same thing. You'd have reports. You'd have the little pieces of video from a car crash, from an accident. Somebody would go do a story on a cat in a tree. That would also be on a tape. They'd have to put it in a VCR and hit play. Well, the tapes formats had changed. They went from 3/4 to different formats. But in the last 15 years ago, everything went digital. So it goes into a computer now. It's just a file. And it just sits on a drive. But those tapes, they're still around, or they were, because they stack up. I mean, there were, we went through 4 or 5 for a football season, 4 or 5 through a basketball season. We went through 4 or 5 through a high school football, basketball season, sometimes more. You do that over the course of 20 years, and you'll be able to fill a room up that I'm sitting in, and you multiply that by the newsroom as well, and those tapes take up space. Now, when you want to go back and reference something like when they tear down a building downtown, what was there before? Well, you can go back and see if you've got a little archive, and all the good stations have had somebody that kept track of that. Most news departments didn't, because they didn't think past this far. Most news managers are, well, let's just say they think about this far to the next thing. But all those tapes add up. They take up space. They get in the way. Sometimes the VCRs that they use to play that format, they don't even have them anymore. And before that, it was actual film. But right around 2005, when everything went digital, a lot of short-sighted managers did not want to go back through the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of tape for what was on there. And sometimes you're looking at it like, what is this? So they just threw them away. And you're throwing away the work of thousands of hours from hundreds of people. And that, to me, was insane. And I was like, hey, if you're going to throw them out, can I have them? And this happened when I worked in Savannah. It happened when I worked in Tampa. It happened when I worked in Atlanta, and as well as in Charlotte. And I didn't know what I would do with any of them. I just knew that there was little bits and fun stories from all kinds of places, and I thought it'd be cool to hold on to it and one day find somebody that would be able to digitize this and then break them back out, because everybody has got an image in their head when they remember the broadcast that, for example, Fox or NBC or CBS had when, for example, Darrell Waltrip's car flipped over 9 times. I mean, you can go put that in Twitter and it's up there. But not everybody has what happened when they brought the car back to Charlotte and it was a mangled mess, and you've got his crew chief saying that he barely survived. Those are the little bitty things in the middle. Not everybody, I mean, everybody's got the first win from the Charlotte Hornets when Kurt Rambis put in a shot, tipped it in, and they won. Not everybody has the after the game of Muggsy Bogues with a 5-year-old Steph Curry giving him an airplane ride through the hallway and into the locker room. Those kind of things. And those are the things that I'm saving and throwing out there, and in high school games too. There's probably, I don't know, a couple hundred high school games I haven't even found or gotten to yet to put out there. And it might not only matter to the people at West Charlotte or West Mech, but it's just really cool to go back and, relive, if not for 45 seconds, what you were doing when you were 16 years old on a Saturday night, and West Charlotte was rolling people, and, Parker was just throwing down on people's heads, and seeing it again and just reliving it and having a good time with it. And that's really all I was trying to do, because I had all this stuff and I'm like, all right, let's, finally do something with it here. I found an engineer that could help me out, and that's basically what I've been into for the last couple of months, ever since I left sports and got in here into PBS Charlotte, is taking the time that I've got, spare now, and dropping everything I can onto TikTok, because that's a fun one to mess with. Yeah. Twitter is I don't really mess with that too much, but I got a Facebook page, same thing, Chris Clark Sports, and I've also got a YouTube page, and I'm just dropping all these things onto to show out, have fun, and watch them as much as you can.
How many, just an estimate, how many tapes do you think you have?
Oh my goodness. Gosh, a couple thousand. Yeah. Possibly. Some of them can't be saved, unfortunately. I mean, it's just, iron oxide on a piece of plastic, if you really want to get technical about what it is. So when you let that sit for too long, and if it gets moist, or I hate that word, sorry, if it gets wet, if it gets wet, it'll deteriorate,
Can't
and
transcribe it. Yeah.
it'll just, you open it up and it's just falling apart, and there's nothing I can do with it. If the tape comes off with the little spindles, you can go and open it up and fix that, but some of it is just beyond repair. And what kills me is some of it's labeled. You can look on there and see, because the tapes, some of them are huge. I mean, I think I might actually have one. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so this is one of those wide mouth Betacam tapes.
Whoa. Okay.
I mean, and you can tell they just labeled it. It just says, sports. So that is 90 minutes of who knows what. So the part that gets me is when you look on something like this and it says, I don't know what hurts more, when you look at it and it's labeled college basketball 2001, or it's not labeled, and it could be anything. It's almost like, it's like Christmas. You pop it in, hit play, and go, oh, what's this? And it could be anything from the tape they took to the Final Four that year when they were on the road and UNC was in, the NCAA tournament. It could be when they went to Daytona and spent all week down there, and you've got interviews behind Pit Road wall with Bill Elliott or Dale Earnhardt or Jeff Gordon when he was like 20 years old and had a little spindly mustache that you had to like pencil in, things like that. It's really fun. It's really cool. It's history. I'm a giant history buff, and I love seeing all these things. And I try and get the year right. I can kind of hone in just looking at, clues on some of the videos. Some of it I can't. I just don't know what they were thinking. I mean, this is 35, 40 years ago in some cases. I'm looking at it like, oh, crap. What the hell? Excuse me. But, I do the best I can with it is what I'm saying. But, yeah, it's a lot of fun to put it out there, and the response I've been getting from people has been funny and fun too.
Yeah, because I'm like, whoa, my eyebrow got raised. I'm a sports themed centric show going on here. Not the same thing at all, but I am transcribing old TV that I hate from the early 2000s. So not the same vibe, but kind of, where you're looking at old
stuff. I'm going to hit you with one more that'll make you go, wait, what is that? Because I'm pretty sure that you've seen a beta tape. I mean,
it's been a while, but yeah.
Same wide mouth too. It's actually the same format as that went out in the 80s. But hold on, let me get one here that'll make you. Okay. This is a 3M 479.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This is like that thing that George Michael used to push the button on and would spin for the sports machine. I have yet to find someone that can knock one of these over, but you're talking about 1980. Yeah. So if I could find somebody that'll knock this thing over, there's some whack. I'd love to see what's on this. And sometimes it might be nothing. Sometimes you get something that's 45 minutes long and 20 minutes of it is color bars because they're waiting for a satellite feed. But who knows what comes down on them. But that was that and these, and there's another one in here, a format called 3/4 that people are like, wait, what? So I don't want to go too far down memory man lane and sitting there talking about, come on, Clark, you put us to sleep here, please. But,
it's all.
I think it's great.
It's all fascinating, and even too, just again, not the same theme, but the same motion of transcribing tapes. I feel like sometimes at first, maybe when you transcribe it, you're like, oh, this is really nothing. And then maybe if you go back a few weeks later, a month later, you're like, oh, whoa, I didn't catch that. So I'm sure that happens too.
There's all kinds of stuff that happens like that. Like, I'm trying to think of one that we saw the other day. You can tell for the things that they cut for the TV shows, for the sportscast and stuff like that, you could tell what they were going for in the first 15, 20 seconds. Because that's all those segments are really short. Mm-hmm. But after that 30-second mark, some of those people would put things on that they would want to save for later. And you would have conversations or sound bites that they didn't ever expect to use until much later. NASCAR drivers talking about their favorite kind of country music. Some of the Hornets talking about their best Def Jam comics. Some of them telling jokes that you can't air.
Sure.
Oh my goodness. Who was it? One of the Hornets, who was may have dressed like a grandma, retold one of the jokes from Def Comedy Jam.
Mm-hmm.
That there's no way YouTube was going to let me put that on, but it was funny. I mean, it was funny, and it was on the end of a Hornets highlight reel, and I'm like, wait, what is that? Hold on, that is, and the things that there's raw shows on these things too, like 30-minute. There was a Hornet show that Jim Salaney, a friend of mine, used to host, and they bring him on, and they bring on the head coach, and they bring on a Hornet of the week. Well, just because the show goes to commercial doesn't mean that they're sitting around, not doing or saying anything. Now, the people see a commercial for Hardee's or Gatorade or Domino's. Mm-hmm. They still keep talking, and the stuff they talk about, I wish I could put down to.
Maybe one day you can.
Oh my goodness, yes. If they would loosen up the restrictions on what you can say and not get banned.
Interesting. See, I haven't hit that when I try to upload stuff from YouTube. It's more of just like, oh, this is copywritten. But that's interesting.
That is a bit of a problem. It's more getting Jim or one of those guys in trouble, because some of the things they're talking about is it's funny. I know what they mean. I know what they're talking about, and I think but you open that up to a wider audience, and we're talking about 1988. Things change a little bit too sometimes. So, but it's funny, and also because I know him, and he's telling stories about it. But those breaks in between the segments are, they're bona fide, certifiable hilarious. That's really a lot of the fun of finding these things.
Yeah, you find like little gems, I'm sure. Well, that's why when I was studying television and media, don't say crazy shit on a hot mic.
No.
Because someone's listening, or might listen 20 years later.
That there's a gun right here, and just understand that that's always pointed at you when they put a microphone on you until you take that thing off. And then even then, you need to, with the way people are with camera phones now looking around, they pick one up and get you. You need to be doubly careful about that. But like I said, this was the stuff I'm referring to was 1985, 86. Oh my goodness. It sounds like
you just have so much. Like I said, that's why I reached out. I was like, wow, this is crazy. And especially you being like in the media world, which I've had a real struggle getting through the door, even in real time. But I always say the silver lining is I've gone and created my own stuff. How did the media world evolve for you? Like, how did that start?
Well, I'm not fresh out of college. Maybe you haven't noticed that. These I know what you're thinking. These movie star good looks just propelled me right to the top of the heap, and I've just been living off of these. And no, I had to work for a living. I got calluses on my hands. I had my first boss tell me that I need to get not just behind the camera but under it, because nobody's going to pay me to see you on camera. And that's where I started from. So if there's a bright, shiny center of the media world, I started in the furthest away, coldest, not even moon, but just asteroid, way the way out in space. I actually wanted to be, I grew up, I graduated college in 98. All my friends were watching Sports Center. Played baseball, wanted to be a baseball player, wasn't fast enough, but we were all, watching that, Keith Olbermann, Stuart Scott, we were watching Dan Patrick. All of us wanted to be the guys doing highlights and play-by-play and call, stuff like that. And Bowie State isn't exactly a mecca for graduating journalism students. And afterwards, I had to get a job. I actually physically worked on what it was called Jack Kent Cooke Stadium at the time. My parents were construction companies. Worked on Capital One Arena downtown in Washington, D.C. too. So I literally helped build the places they play in. So they needed somebody to help work at the Jumbotron department at the Commanders place. Sorry. And I signed up. I got the gig through an internship. I was unpaid for exactly 0.2 of a second, because when I showed up, I could do a whole lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. I could shoot, I could edit pretty well, and they put me right to work. And I met the guys there from Fox. I met the guys that built Cletus. A guy taught me. He showed me how to use something called an Avid in 1998, which you might as well have shown somebody in caveman times how to, use a laser. Nobody was using that at the time. He showed me the ins and outs of everything with it and put me so far ahead of the curve, it wasn't even funny. But to get a real job, like, be a real journalist, I started putting together the press kits on tape for the team. And I would write a little story when one of these guys would go and open up a park, or one of these guys would go and cut the ribbon on a YMCA or something like that. I was trying to talk the ownership at the time. First year was under a guy named John Cook. Then some guy named Snyder bought the team. This is who I'm talking about now. I was trying to convince Snyder and them that if they hired me and 2 other people, we could do this for the team and put it on something called the internet. And they told me it wasn't going to last. So add that to your list of things why you hate Danny Boy, but I digress. I started putting these press packets together, and we'd send them to the stations because they weren't coming out and covering the team enough. And I noticed a couple nights in a row, the press packets I had, they were just stripping out channel 1, revoicing what I put in, because I dropped my voice in as a scratch track, and they would put theirs in and run it, no change. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm 25, 24, and you're rerunning exactly what I just did. I mean, literally the same thing. And you're making a couple $100,000 a year, and I'm working for the, wait a minute, hold on here. So I started applying to any place that would take me. When you actually had to put a tape in an envelope and mail it out. Not a DVD. That was too high tech for news at the time. And I got a job. I got a call back from a place that was literally 2 miles from the stadium. It was a local county cable thing that they did news once a day at 6 o'clock, and they just repeated it all the time. It was part of the, what do you call it? The make good. You had to do a public service almost, and there was one for every county. So I started doing stuff for the one for PG County. That lasted through football season. The one up in Montgomery County, which is right next to PG County, had an opening. A guy named Bram Weinstein had left, and he had gone on to work for a station and then eventually ESPN. Now he's back with the Commanders. Bram called me and said, hey, I'm leaving. Why don't you come on up? It'd be a good place to get your feet wet. So I did. I applied. They hired me. We're not talking about any kind of crazy money here. I mean, I think I was making $17,000 a year, living at home, trying to get a resume together is what it was. I was there for 7 months, got a resume together, sent out more tapes. The first 2 I sent out to a place in West Virginia called me back, Clarksburg, which was nice, from Chris Clark. So seemed like it was fated.
A sign.
But yeah, I was there. I showed up. I was the weekend sports guy. I had to take a pay cut from 17 to 16.5. So thank goodness they raised it a little bit. I was there for about 9 months. They let the guy in front of me go because he was just lazy. I don't know how else to say it. And I was in the middle of West Virginia. Wasn't going anywhere. Didn't have the money to take a vacation. So I ended up working 6 and 7 days a week to get better. But what thing they did have was they had an Avid. Now back then, children gather around. They used to go deck to deck when you had to put a tape in one deck and then you had your tape in another one and you edited from one to the next, which meant everything was a straight cut. There was no dissolve. There was no white flash. There was no nothing. Mm-hmm. It was a whole different level of editing. Well, with an Avid, you can do whatever you want. And they didn't know how to use it. And I'm like, hey, can I use that? And like, oh, nobody in the building knows how to use it. I'm like, I bet you I know somebody that does. So I jumped on there and did a story that was me. It wasn't even mid. I mean, it was like, but it had done something they'd never seen before. And I'd still kept in touch with the people at Fox that worked at TTG in downtown that taught me how to edit. They would send me Fox graphics or made up whatever it was at the time in 2000. The get graphics made was incredible, and I'd use them all during sports and explosions and shot, all kind of stuff. They made me sports director. I hired my best friend. We tried to make it Sports Center in the middle of West Virginia, and we did. Had a great time, won a bunch of awards. From there, I got a job in Savannah. They didn't know how to use an Avid either, so I was like, hey, can I have that? And they're like, sure, take it. And after about 0.2 of 1 second, then it turned into, hey, look, when Sweeps comes up, would you mind helping us edit a few of these just to be okay? They let me pretty much do whatever I wanted then. Then from there, it was Market 165 was West Virginia. Market 98 was Savannah. I turned the heads of some people in Tampa, applied, got the job down there, and the recession, Great Recession hit. Lost the job, but I'd done such good work. The people at Fox down there knew me from Washington. That's why I tell everybody, keep in touch with people. And I mean, I know it gets to make a phone call and to be nice, but don't. It's your network. Use your network, and I did. Got the job in Tampa at Fox. I was there 2 years. Did so well. There was a job opening in Atlanta. They were like, "Hey, you want to go to Atlanta for more money?" I was like, "Yes, I do want to go to Atlanta for more money." Went to Atlanta, had a great time covering the Braves. Chipper Jones, Fred McGriff would come through. I met him in Tampa. well, there's some guy named Freddie Freeman playing for the Braves too. I got to be friends with. I mean, it was a good time. I was going to say that. And then, I just kept doing good work, kept improving, kept trying to learn all I could, trying to up my game on the Avid and nonlinear editing, telling stories that, turned heads and make it look like network. And then eventually Charlotte. And I was here for 3 years, had way too much fun here, running around with a giant 3-foot hand on a stick and, doing this to everybody at the high school games. And still have people do that to me when I walk around town here today. And that was, 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. From there, went to Raleigh, had a great time running around with UNC, NC State, and Duke, and the Hurricanes, and all the CIAA teams. I mean, it's been a charmed life, man. It has really been a lot of fun. I mean, I'm here now telling stories for PBS Charlotte. I mean, it's like I said, I don't get up in the morning and go, I gotta go to work. I usually get up early, work out, and then get in here early, and then have way too much fun doing this stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, I always remember like Kathy Lee Griffin said something like that. Like, it's not a job if you enjoy and love what you do,
Oh yeah. I mean, you got to spend time. I mean, you obviously have family. I mean, I'm married and I spend a lot of time with her. That's what the great thing about this job is. It's 9 to 5 now. Weekends off, holidays off. I do one story a week. It's 6 minutes long, but I do one story a week, and we get most of the summer off to work on a documentary. So I spend a lot of time with my wife. I can go do a lot of vacation stuff, whereas before, right now, I would be in Washington, D.C. getting ready for the tip-off for the Duke game. So she put up with a lot, and now it's my turn to pay her back and to do all kinds of cool stuff. So I just started paying her back last year when we took a trip to Rome for 3 days. We did a cruise around the Mediterranean, and then we spent 3 days in Athens. So it's a start. I'm trying.
Oh, fair. Well, wow. What's your favorite place you've been? No pressure, but.
Oh, man. I'm a baseball guy. I mean, you put me at any one of these fields, and it's great. The best park, and I say this too, for knowing full well, I worked at Camden Yards for a summer. The best baseball stadium all the way around with the history. I mean, the team's terrible, but that's kind of what makes it fun, is PNC up in Pittsburgh. That place is gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. Okay, Camden Yards, it's the first one, the old throwback. Yeah, I get it. But I spent 90 games up there one summer. And after about the 12th time, you look into right field and you see that red brick wall. You're like, PNC, though, you're looking out at the bridges. I mean, they've got places to eat all over the place. The Clark bar that's around the corner, they would, kind of hook me up for free, whatever. But anyway, it was just way too much fun. And when I got there, they had all the old Pirates coming back that were still around, too. I mean, I got to meet, Dave Parker. I mean, Willie Stargell he hadn't passed away just yet. Tanner, all those old guys, when they opened the place, were just cool. I mean, and they told the most incredible stories about stuff. I mean, it was fun. It was a big town, but it wasn't so big you couldn't put your arms around it, and everything felt, just cool. And I can't explain it. You have to be there with me. But, PNC Baseball Stadium, I'm going for that one every single time.
Who would you say was an a-hole? Like, that let you down?
You only got 40 minutes, right?
Yeah, I know. Like, the time's a ticking, I know, unfortunately. But, like, is there one person, or do you not even want to give it, like...
No, you catch somebody at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And you have to understand the limits on their time, too. If you do something that's, like with anything, everybody thinks that, playing baseball, first of all, it's a job. And it's a 162-game season. Mm-hmm. So these guys, I mean, they're every day, and then it's not just it's travel, and then just travel with a team or a basketball team. Just forget playing, forget somebody trying to do you in every other night. Just travel. I mean, you know how tired you are when you go to an airport, check your bags in, and then you go on a plane and you fly. And then, okay, great. They don't carry their bags around, but they still got to get on the plane and fly, move around, all that kind of stuff. How tired are you once you get out of that? Okay, now go work out for about 4 hours. Now go work out for 4 more. And then as soon as you get out of that workout, let's just say it didn't go as well as you wanted to, and, it's tied to how you make your living. Somebody walks up to you afterwards and asks you some inane comment about whatever. You catch them at a bad time, anybody can rip your head off. Anybody can. And I've caught guys where I thought, man, I am never speaking to you again. You got to be out of your mind. And I've seen them later, and they've been the nicest people possible. And I don't mean when cameras are on either. Every single one of them, when the camera turns on, they are a different person. Some of them are Jekyll and Hyde. But by and large, I'd say a majority of them are really, really easygoing guys, really nice guys, straightforward. Hockey players, for some reason, are the nicest of the nicest people you would ever want to meet and talk to.
That's what I hear. That's what I've heard.
I mean, those guys, a lot of them are Canadian, a lot of them are Finnish, some Russian. When you can speak a little bit of their language, they brighten up, and they answer questions in ways that we just don't normally get. Like a lot of kids will practice now. Privileged to be here. Whenever I can help a team, I just want to wear the uniform, and whatever coach tells us to do, we can wear. I've heard that a billion times in every. Yeah, but you ask one of these guys from Finland about what it is they need to do to get this team ready to come back being down 2-0 in the first round of this playoff series. They're going to take a second and think about it, and then give you an answer that they think. I mean, get ready because it's coming, and some of them blow you away because they're not trying to snow you. They're
being serious, yeah.
Yeah, they're being dead serious. Baseball players, because they've got so many games they play, are tough because it's the same questions all the time. I mean, a guy goes out there and goes 3 for 4, goes 0 for 3. How do you start a question with them? And a lot of times these guys, I'll tell you what really pisses them off is they don't ask questions. People will just walk up, and when they turn around from their locker, they look around. You need to ask them a question to get them to talk. Some people will say something like, "Hey, talk about your at-bats today." Okay, well, that's not a question. That's a talk radio crutch that people get into that I know players and coaches hate. You need to ask them, what did you see on that first at-bat that made you key on that 0-2 pitch? Or whatever. Ask them something that lets them know, hey, you were paying attention. That's the thing. You get somebody in there that doesn't do that, you get the wrong person with a little bit of an attitude, and that's where you get those viral moments. But baseball players, because there's so many games, are usually the most they're just tired, and I get it.
Yeah, fair. Well, 4 minutes.
No, I want
Do you, real quick, before we get cut off, do you want to give a shout out to your TikTok or?
Oh yeah, head on over to Instagram, not Instagram, sorry, TikTok. It's Chris Clark, CD Clark Sports, or Chris Clark Sports. I'm sorry, and Facebook, same thing, Chris Clark Sports. If you go over to YouTube as well, there's a Chris Clark Sports page. You'll see all kinds of stories and different things I did, and along with a lot of throwback stuff. I'm getting out of the 90s, early 90s, and getting into the middle 90s now, and trying to get a little bit more current there.
So fun. I love to ask this question. Have you ever seen a ghost or something trippy or Twilight Zone?
Yes, I have. I grew up in an area of PG County where the Accokeek Indians were around, and I grew up on a horse ranch basically that had 300 acres around it. My parents bought 20 in the middle of it, and we would go play in the woods out there. And I swear, out of the corner of my eye, I could see a kid sometimes. Not all the time, every once in a while, here and there, a kid. And I was worried about him when I was a kid because he looked like he was naked. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize later on I was looking at what looked like a little kid or what looked like a little Accokeek child until I went to the Schmidt Learning Center, and they had a little mural drawn up of what the Native Americans in the area looked like. And I'm like, wait a minute. That looks like the little kid I saw a couple times. I only saw him 4 or 5 times. Also, the house that we lived in, once they finished the basement, because it wasn't finished at first, it was a ranch, we'd be in the basement sometimes, we'd be watching television, and when it got quiet, I swear it happened twice. You could hear somebody open the door, walk right to the top of the steps. And I remember yelling up there one time, "Hey, is that you, Pop?" It wasn't Pop. There was nobody there. So, yeah, I don't know what it is, and I'll be the first one somebody go ahead and make fun of.
No, I'm here for it.
I won't say it to me in person, but there's something going on sometimes. And you won't catch me standing around going, "Hey, what's that? Let's walk over there." Nope, Clark's going the other way. We're out of this thing. So I'm there with
those are good questions. I mean, those are good answers.
Yeah.
Because, I'd say 80% of the time someone has something, but, the 20% either, I don't know, don't want to admit to her they really haven't seen it. I don't know.
sometimes people walk through life like this. You don't look around and see. I get paid to look around at stuff, and when things don't add up, go, hey, wait a minute.
Right.
What is that? Or when I'm watching a game, which is what coaches really hate, and asking questions like, why'd you drop out of that man-to-man defense there, Coach K? And I'm surprised I've actually got my head intact, actually, after I asked him that one time. But again, bad timing. He actually called me later and apologized and said, hey, look, gotta understand, I'm under pressure. And I'm like, buddy, I get you. I totally get
That's so nice. Well, that says so much, right, for someone to call and apologize. But also, too, going to what you said about being like a good eyewitness, that makes you good at your job,
It should. I got a great grasp of the painfully obvious sometimes because I've missed a whole lot of stuff. I was talking to a coach once and he told me he was thinking about getting out of the business. 2 days later, I'm like, wait a minute, he just told me that. Come on, Clark, you should have. But yes, I'm keyed in a lot of times. Sometimes I will just let stuff blow right by. But no, that ghost thing, yeah, that's
real. Yeah.
No, and I've got some stuff that my relatives told me. They're from the part of Virginia, Southwest Virginia, back in Appalachia. Mm-hmm. There's some stuff that when we go visit them that they told us not to do. Have you heard somebody call your name in the woods when you're walking around out there? No, you didn't. Just keep walking. Hear a woman screaming at night outside. You think it's a woman outside your door? No, don't open the door. No.
Oh, whoa, that's trippy. That's kind of...
Yeah, don't do that. You hear some woman screaming in the woods for help or whatever like that, you don't